Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, hopefully we're actually live this time. I actually just went through this whole introduction a moment ago, and apparently I didn't actually hit the go live button, so it appears we are live now. Welcome everybody. This is Rocket Future, documenting and sharing the most exciting moments in spaceflight. My name is Andrew, and today we're live with live views of Starbase down here in Boca Chica, Texas, where there is a intermittent road delay scheduled from 8 a.m. Central Time to 10 a.m. Central Time. So basically the next 2 hours there is an intermittent road delay scheduled. And what that means is most likely SpaceX will be using that opportunity and they'll be impeding traffic in one way or another for some reason. And we think the most likely reason for that is because they want to roll Ship 24 from the launch site down to the build site a couple miles down Highway 4. So kind of surprisingly, Ship 24 is still kind of nicely nestled into the chopstick arms, as we see in that left-hand screen. The next thing we would expect to see is those chopsticks open up, and we would start to see it move towards the gate here at Starbase. Now, if they do indeed move Ship 24 today, my plan is to follow it down the road as we did with the Ship 25, as long as we are allowed to do that. For some reason, if they don't allow us to do that today, we'll get some great shots of Ship 24 leaving the launch facility, yeah, that should be good. So again, I'll kind of re-summarize real quick just in case people are slowly starting to trickle in. Live views here at Starbase. Hoping to see Ship 24, this rocket, move down the road here, but we're going to have to wait and see. The road cones are in place, and there are sheriff vehicles in the vicinity that look like they could be here for some impending activity. So we're just going to wait and see. Again, we're going to look for those chopstick arms opening up. So I'm going to continue to get some stuff set up here. Hopefully we'll be able to follow it down the road here today. In the meantime, while I'm continuing to set some stuff up, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop those in the chat, and enjoy some footage from some of the big testing that happened down here at Starbase in 2022. Thank you.
live from here at Starbase, Boca Chica, Texas. This is the SpaceX launch facility for the Starship vehicle that's been in development for a couple years. We've been waiting months for the FAA to come out with their decision about whether or not orbital launches will happen from this site. And just now, the FAA has issued a finding of no significant impact in its environmental review. So there are 75 steps that SpaceX will need to do to mitigate any environmental impact down here at Starbase. But they got it. They got the freaking approval.
Again, welcome everyone. Let's make sure that both of my cameras here are actually still live. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Looks like we are. So yes, welcome again. Welcome in, everyone. Thanks for joining us here this morning. Things are pretty quiet here down at Starbase. Again, there has been a couple sheriff vehicles back and forth. However, they seem to have kind of gone back into the facility itself. So not really sure what the plan is for this morning. To recap, in case you missed the introduction, there is an intermittent road delay scheduled from 8 a.m. Central Time to 10 a.m. Central Time this morning. It is currently 8:11 Central Time. Generally speaking, when they put in these intermittent road delays, they usually start right at the beginning of them to accomplish whatever the goal is for that scheduled delay. It was anticipated that today's delay would be used for transporting Ship 24 from the launch site down here to the build site up Highway 4. A process that generally takes an hour. So again, they publish these notices saying that Highway 4 will be have delayed traffic for that period of time. But there is still plenty of time in this scheduled delay. Again, it runs for another hour and 45 minutes or so. That being said, if Ship 24 was really going to roll back this morning to the build site, to be honest with you, I would be expecting to see those chopsticks open like right now if they aren't. And if those chopsticks aren't opening anytime in the next, I don't know, few minutes, and we start to see Ship 24 start heading towards the road, then maybe they've decided to do something else today. I also have to check Twitter feeds and just community updates about anything that might be happening down towards the build site. It's always possible that they're moving something down there instead. Again, Ship 24 was just a hypothesis of what they could be doing today. But we'll have to wait and see if they actually end up using this road delay that has been published. For a moment this morning, driving into Starbase, I did consider the fact that they could potentially be rolling something between the build site and Massey's, their new test facility down the road. But I have realized that there's a bunch of Jersey barriers in the middle of the highway in between Massey's and the build site. So that is out of the question for today. So the reason for the road closure definitely has to do with something between the build site and launch site. Again, it's possible that they scheduled this delay for the move of Ship 24, and they either may have had to change plans, or they are still planning on moving 24. So we'll have to see. As you can see, a sheriff is driving behind me as well. There's always a sheriff on duty here, so that doesn't really indicate much. But I do hope to kind of see the other sheriff vehicles kind of get back into place to indicate that we still might be looking forward to a rollout or rollback this morning. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop those in the chat. But I'll talk a little bit about why they could potentially be moving Ship 24 away from the launch site. So again, that left screen that you have there are live views of the Starbase launch site down here in Boca Chica, Texas. And there's a couple different places in the launch site that you can keep vehicles. As you can see, I'm not sure if you can see in the current video, but you can keep a booster on the orbital launch mount. Ship 24 is right next to the orbital launch mount, and then Ship 25 is currently on the suborbital infrastructure. Ship 24 was destacked off of Booster 7 yesterday in preparation for some Booster 7 static fires. So there's not really anywhere to put Ship 24. So that's one of the big reasons why we think that Ship 24 could roll back to the build site today or another day in the near future. Of course, you don't want it anywhere near Booster 7 when it's going to do its next static fire, which could end up being the 33 engine static fire. So the sheriff vehicles kind of aren't in their usual locations for when they're just on site on site for like their daily, just their regular duties. The fact that they're not in their usual place does indicate to me that there's still possibility that something could happen today. But if you would just give me a few moments of a break from commentary here, I will check with the rest of the community to see if there are any theories about if the plan changed for today, or if we really do still expect to see Ship 24 roll. So I would think that Ship 24 would have to be at the entrance of the launch facility within the next 30 to 40 minutes at the latest, in order to still get the rollback done before the end of that intermittent road delay. I suppose it is also possible they could extend the road delay if they just had some complications this morning that caused internal, procedural delays. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just keeping eyes on things. So give me a few minutes of a break here to check on any updates from the community. If you have any questions, you can drop those right in the chat. But in the meantime, I wanted to thank you again for joining us this morning, and I'll be back with an update in just a few minutes. Thanks. I see Holly is in the chat. Good morning to you as well, Holly. Thanks for joining us this morning. We're just waiting and hanging out to see what may or may not happen here at Starbase this morning. There's an intermittent road delay published. So usually speaking, when we see one of those published, it would be a good indication that something would be rolling between the launch site and build site, or vice versa. So still to be determined for what activity we may or may not see this morning. But thanks for joining us. Just kind of checking in Twitter and a few other places, just see what the community's saying. Not seeing any major updates from anybody or any theories on what might be happening this morning. But as we well know, sometimes plans change, and this intermittent road delay may have been scheduled, and then plans may have changed. But there's still an hour and 40 minutes plus in this delay that's been scheduled, so we're holding tight. If you are just tuning in and hoping to see a rollback of Ship 24, I would expect we would have to see these chopsticks open in the next 20 minutes if we still hope to see a rollback today. So we're keeping a close eye in on these chopstick views just to see if there is any movement. But like I said, things are pretty quiet here today, so plans may have changed. But if you were watching the stream for the wet dress rehearsal a few days ago, there was a moment during that stream where almost everybody was certain that plans had changed for the wet dress rehearsal just because it took so long for them to get started on the visual portion of it. And as we know, that ended up, the wet dress did happen. So we have to basically just stick around and be patient, and just because we don't see some activity as early as we thought doesn't mean that they're not gonna proceed with said activity. So I'm continuing to just hang out here. I'll jump back on camera in just a little while, and we can talk about what we expect to see from Starbase in the next few days or weeks. Basically, which milestones are ahead in the journey towards a full stack launch. So we'll talk about those things in a few minutes. Thanks for tuning in. Well, I'm glad, hey Holly, I'm glad your truck is a little bit situated and it sounds like you're planning on coming down here at some point pretty soon, and hoping to find a place to rent. So that's awesome. When you're back down here, please let me know. That'd be cool. But you definitely should get down here. Things are heating up. Things are getting exciting down here at Starbase. And why don't we jump on camera and talk about Starbase? Let's see. So, as we continue to wait to see if they're going to make use of this intermittent road delay this morning, we can talk a little bit about a quick summary of last week and the weeks ahead here at Starbase. So, if you're following Starship at all, you probably have heard that last week they completed wet dress rehearsal, which is basically a mock countdown of a real launch sequence, including fully fueling the vehicle for the first time ever. Now, when they fully fueled this full stack, it was the most fuel that's ever been loaded into a stacked rocket before, which is really cool. Just really, really cool. They're making a lot of headway in these last couple months towards their first ever full stack launch down here at Starbase for the Starship vehicle. But there's still some milestones ahead for them to hit. Stand by. I am just noticing an elevator going up the orbital launch tower. But they're always doing work up there, so that doesn't really mean too much. So yeah, milestones ahead. So again, we talked a little bit earlier about why they could potentially roll back S24 today, but that is in preparation for the 33 engine static fire of Booster 7. That will be the most engines ever fired on the booster by double, or more than double, and it'll be absolutely insane to see them get to that point with Booster 7 and in the full stack that they expect to be the first ever full stack launch. Again, that's Booster 7 and Ship 24 that make up the hopefully impending full stack launch sometime relatively soon if the rest of the milestones go correct. So the Booster 7 33 engine static fire, that's going to be a big one, and then they're going to have to take a moment to reassess how they're doing, how Booster 7 looks after the 33 engine static fire, assuming that it goes nominally, making sure all the engines are good still, don't have to swap any out. If they do, they'll potentially have to roll it back to the build site, but they could also do some replacements here, I believe. They'll have to check out the orbital launch mount to see how that's doing after the static fire. They might have to re-pour concrete under the pad. There's a lot of things that they could potentially have to do between the 33 engine static fire and the eventual launch attempt. Now, in addition to like the technical tests, like the static fire, there's also some procedural things that need to be completed prior to the launch attempt as well, such as SpaceX needs to obtain the FAA launch license for the actual launch attempt, as well as potentially completing additional mitigations that were required as part of the FAA environmental review that happened over the last year. So taking a look at the launch tower, I'm continuing to hear some noise coming from it. We saw an elevator go up there briefly. Again, if we expect to see Ship 24 moving at all today, we'd have to see those chopsticks open real soon. So if static fire goes well and there's minimal changes that they need to do to the booster or to the launch infrastructure, stage 0, OLM, they just have to do some minor modifications to Ship 24 and then they can start scheduling the launch attempt. So timelines are tough. I never love to give a timeline based on just all the questions that need to be answered prior to launch attempt. But as we do know, that SpaceX did communicate that end of February, March is an option. And I'm not going to say whether I think that's likely or not. However, I will say it still sounds like a realistic opportunity if and only if the rest of the testing goes well and they don't run into any new problems or any big issues with the testing. But it could still be a while from now as well. So that's how we gotta think about it. We gotta be patient with this thing. They've put so much time and effort into Booster 7 and Ship 24. I don't want them to rush anything at this point and make a mistake. I want to see this thing get off the ground. Continuing to hear activity from what sounds like the base of the launch tower. Could just be vehicles moving around. But I'm keeping a very, very close eye on those chopsticks to see if they are opening at all. So far, I see no indication that they are. I would hope they would update the intermittent road delay notice on the the Cameron County website if they knew for sure that they weren't going to use it today. I think also likely it would be I'm just checking in for any updates. I think also if we saw like another intermittent road delay be published for the next, tomorrow or sometime soon, I think that would be a good indication that they may have hit a delay for the rollback, and that would indicate that we might not see it happen today. But again, we're just being patient, and we'll stick around here until it's clear that something will or will not happen. It takes about 1 hour or so from the rollback or rollout from site to site. So again, they have about an hour and a half left in the window for the intermittent delay. A little under an hour and a half. So the Ship 24 would really need to be. Okay, hold on, folks. I may have an update here shortly. What I'm looking at right now is some employees untying a piece of the gate that leads into the Starship launch facility. My guess is that once they finish untying the gate, that could indicate that they're about to open this gate, which would mean they're opening up space to roll something out of the gate. So this could be great news. And Ship 24 is moving. Okay, breaking news, everybody. I just got really excited. Ship 24 is moving. What we're about to see is a rollback from the Starbase launch facility to the build facility. We're going. Going. I expected to see those chopsticks open a bit more. Maybe y'all could see them open on the thing, but I'm going to get moving right now. So here's the plan for today. If they allow me to, I'm going to try to follow Ship 24 from the launch site to the build site. So I'm going to prepare as if that's our plan for the day, that we're going to drive behind Ship 24. So we're gonna get this camera. I'm gonna break this camera down and everything, and we're gonna get it set up for that. In the event they don't allow us to do that today, I'll stop and I'll get everything set back up again, so we have a good view for a few minutes here of Ship 24 rolling down Highway 4. But yeah, I'm gonna break down this camera. Yeah, this is exciting. Testing 1 2 3. Okay, if you're just joining us, oh, my camera is kind of frozen. Let me fix that for you. If you're just joining us, Ship 24 is on the move. We are hoping to see it roll back down Highway 4 here momentarily. I'm going to do a quick reset on my camera though. So stand by. You're going to see a black screen just for a little bit here. It looks like it's acting up, so I want to make sure that it is in good working order for when we roll. So give me a moment here, folks. All right. If you are just joining us, here's the status. Ship 24 is on the move. What we're gonna do is try to roll down the road with Ship 24 behind it on Highway 4. If we can't do that, we'll set up a second camera and just get situated in this location for this rollout. So bear with me here, folks. I'm gonna send a couple social media links out, and this thing's getting going pretty quickly here. So. All right, Ship 24 is very quickly making moves towards the entrance of the launch site, which means we should see it pretty soon roll out onto Highway 4. I do see vehicles staged in preparation of this activity. Now I do want to hedge my bets a little bit here. The fact that they opened the gate does lead me to believe that we are about to see Ship 24 roll down Highway 4. However, there is a very slight possibility here that they just move Ship 24 over towards the orbital, suborbital infrastructure on the other side of the launch site, which would mean that it wouldn't be coming out onto the highway at all. But I personally think that they're going to get this thing on the highway and down towards the build site. So let's see. Good morning, Todd, and welcome. It's very good to see you today, Todd. Beautiful morning at Starbase. I hope you're having a good morning as well. Alright, I am seeing some vehicles coming onto Highway 4, so that means everything is starting to be in place for this rollback. So we're going to try to follow Ship 24 down the highway. However, I want to make sure that I clearly am able to do that. So there's currently a sheriff parked behind me. So when the sheriff moves in front of me, that will be my indication that I can follow behind. So we're just going to have to sit tight and see if we're able to follow this thing. As you can see on the top of Ship 24, there are some hooks that are used to hook up a crane. That is one of the changes we expect to see of Ship 24 prior to the full stack launch attempt. We expect those hooks to be removed and for those areas to be filled in with heat shield tiles. Todd, yeah, the cones are out, and vehicles seem to be in place for a Highway 4 roll. Laszlo says, how many meters per second? Let's measure it. That's a great question. So the roll out of Ship 25 seemed like we were about averaging 25 miles. Definitely not 25 miles per hour. About 2 miles per hour was my estimate at the time. So just to recap the plan here, there are 2 official vehicles behind me blocking the highway for the rollout. So my indication that it is safe to drive behind Ship 24 will be when those vehicles move in front of me. So Sorry, I'm just watching some vehicle activity here. All right. All right. Good news. So the vehicles have moved in front of me. So when Ship 24 enters the highway and starts... Oh, gosh. I want to make sure I get in front of this Jeep here. We might be behind one vehicle. That's all right. Oh, unless he's gonna go. Oh, he's gonna go. Awesome, we're good. We're good. Todd says, ships and booster move surprisingly fast. That is true. Welcome, Zoli. How are you? Welcome, Titan. Good morning. Good to see you. Ship 24 is now maneuvering around some of the equipment on the launch site, so it looks like it's rolling backwards, but I think it's still making progress towards the highway, and the road is still, we still have some vehicles that would indicate a rollout, or rollback most likely. Titan asks, how cold is it down here? Titan, it is exactly... Oh, hold on, let me fix this door. Let's see, it's 58 degrees here on Boca Chica Beach at Starbase. 58 degrees Fahrenheit. As you can see, Ship 24 is rotating on the SPMT. Well, it's not rotating on the SPMT, but the whole SPMT is driving and turning, which is, of course, causing S24 to turn on top of it as it approaches the gate for the launch site. Again, we hope to be able to follow Ship 24 down the highway, but we're going to have to see how that plays out. Obviously, if we do it, we're going to do it safely, and only when it is clear that we are able and allowed to do so. If it is unclear, we are going to sit where we are and watch it roll down the highway from here. Once we start moving, I will not be looking at chat. So now is your time to get any questions in. Might be good to queue up some questions for the ride. It will be about an hour ride, so queue up any questions you do have. I'll look at them now, and then I can try to answer them while we're on the road if we do end up rolling. 47 degrees in Houston right now. Wow. Chilly morning for sure. I'm going to roll down the window here. So beautiful view here. All right, the sheriffs are getting into place for this road closure. Should be good. I feel pretty confident that we'll be able to follow this, but we're going to have to wait and see. This could be the last ever rollback for Ship 24. To be honest with you, if you asked me last week, I would not actually have expected Ship 24 to roll back at all. But I'm not surprised that it's rolling. For one, again, there's not a lot of room down here to keep it anywhere while Booster 7 is going to do its static fire. Also, they need to do some work to it anyway, so might as well roll it back to the build site, keep it safe, and you'll be able to get the work done that they need to down there in the build site. Oh, I do actually have one. Oh, I have something. 1 second. I was hoping to show you my location information. We'll see if I can. Morning, Shard. Bear with me, folks, just another second here. Just setting one more thing up. Alright, folks, in the top right hand screen you can now see my location as we roll towards the build site. Hopefully they'll allow us to roll behind it this morning. I know it's at a little bit of an angle now, but that's because I am currently parked at an angle, but once we're on the road it should be straighter. Again, the plan is to follow this down Highway 4 as long as we have permission to. So basically, I just have to wait for a sheriff vehicle that's behind me to move in front of me as this thing rolls. Again, and once we are rolling, we will not be looking at chat. We will be paying attention to the road and safely driving. Good morning, Bolintz. Good morning, Shard. Good morning, David. Shard Baby says Ship 24 was last at the build site on July 5th. Wow, it's been a while actually. So it's been down here at the launch site for many months. Welcome Lack3, greetings from Hungary, welcome to all of the Space Junkie community. Again, I know that the current view is angled, but that will be fixed shortly, don't worry, we will have a straight on view here in a little bit. Alright, we're about to move onto the highway. Shard says, I thought it was going to stay at the launch site until launch. True, same. Alright folks, we are rolling. We're going to take a backup here just in case this truck needs to go somewhere. Just a moment here, folks. And we are rolling. A historic moment, potentially the last ever roll back of Ship 24. Oh no. Ah, I should have got in front of this guy. Oh well. Obviously, I'm letting them go before I do. Hey. Once we are on the straightaway, I don't think that the lift in front of us will be a problem for viewing. Now, I'm going to keep an eye, well, I'm not going to keep an eye on, but if you keep an eye on the top right, you'll see my live location, and hopefully that will be updating live for you as we approach the build site from the launch site. Again, I could have been a little bit more aggressive with trying to get in front of the forklift, but this is their world. I'll use that quote. This is their world. I'm just living in it. So it's SpaceX official operations. I'm going to give them the priority, of course. But in the meantime, I'm going to try to get the best shot I can while being most out of the way as possible. They're here to do their job, and I guess I'm here to do my job too, but they're the ones that are actually going to be getting this vehicle off the ground. We're trying to do what I consider min-max here. Minimum what's the word I'm looking for? Obtrusiveness? I don't know. Basically, I want to get in little of the way as possible while still getting the maximum quality of shot. That's what we're doing here today. We're passing Starhopper right now on our left. And if you are looking at that mini map on the top right, you can know our location because it's the little circle with the blue circle with my face, and it's hard to see what the circle is, but yeah, again, once we're on this straightaway, I think we will have a very clear shot of Ship 24 as it rolls down the highway. And of course, Ship 24 isn't shaking. If you see any shaking, that's just due to the nature of me driving in this vehicle. Starlink was quite acceptable during the drive from the build site to the launch site with S25 last time. So I don't expect any major dropouts. There may be occasionally a dropout here and there, but that's just kind of the nature of how this is working. Again, we are actively driving, so I'm not taking a look at chat, but if this is anything like the last rollout, there will be moments where I can stop and put it into park and check in if there's any questions about this process. Right now we're moving, let me tell you what speed we're moving here in a second. Two miles per hour. We're moving 2 miles per hour. Oh, there's a dumpster truck. I definitely want to get ahead of that truck. But they're taking a left. We're good. We're approaching one of the straightaways, which will give us a very clear shot. So bear with us in the meantime. Is this forklift pulling over? Not sure. But no big deal either way. Now, if we wanted to, we could be walking with Ship 24. As you can see, there is somebody doing that on the right-hand side in that red jacket. I do expect to do that sometime. Maybe we will... yeah, we'll do that sometime. The only thing is, I don't know how the coverage will be, because we won't have our Starlink connection. We'll only be on data, which is pretty bad out here. But at some point, maybe I can have a friend be in charge of driving the Jeep behind in the convoy while I walk behind the ship or the booster or whatever it is. Ship 24 is looking beautiful after all of its recent testing. Of course, we do know it just went under its wet dress rehearsal along with Booster 7, configured in a full stack. From this perspective, I don't see any concerns with Ship 24. Whether or not there's heat shield tiles missing or not, I'm not sure of. Towards the top, you can see some patterns of the tiles that don't really look... I don't know, kind of randomized tiles, which, you know, makes me wonder if any fell off or not. But anyway, everything is looking pretty good externally. The question is how S24 is doing internally, and I'm sure they'll take a look to make sure everything is looking good when it's back at the build site, which you can start to make out towards the bottom of Ship 24 off the right-hand side, the Mega Bay starting to peek out. The road here is a bit banked, and that is why it looks like Ship 24 is at an angle. However, I assure you in real life it looks nice and straight. You can see some of those counterweights at the bottom. We talked a little bit about this last time. A lot of people are surprised that they ship these vehicles down the highway in a vertical orientation. However, they use counterweights on these SPMTs, or self-propelled modular transporters, to make sure the center of gravity is very low in the vehicle. I used the analogy last time. If you were holding an empty tall can from the bottom, as long as you had a really good firm grip on the bottom, the chance of it blowing over is pretty slim. Again, think of like a tall beer can or like Red Bull, you know, those tall cans. Empty it out, grab it from the bottom, and you get a pretty good grip on it. There would have to be a decent amount of force to blow it over. Now, of course, again, oversimplification of it, but that's kind of, I feel like, a pretty good analogy. Enjoy. We're in park now. Right now we're in park. All right, enjoy Titan volunteering at Space Center Houston. Don't worry, I will not get ahead of the sheriff, that's for sure. While we're in park, let's see. Road should be leveling off here in just a couple moments. Another beautiful day for another one of these rollouts, or rollbacks in this case. It's a little chilly, but it's nice. Ship 24 has made its right-hand turn, is on the next straight portion of Highway 4. The next turn for Ship 24 will be up near the Mars bar up there. I am currently in park and just checking out some comments here. Welcome everyone. Alright, no longer in park, no longer looking at chat. Again, we got some folks walking behind Ship 24. We got somebody biking behind Ship 24. This could be the very vehicle that is used for the first ever full stack Starship launch. Rolling down Highway 4 on its self-propelled modular transporter. You can think of it as a large flatbread pizza. Flatbed. You can tell I'm hungry. You can think of it as a large flatbed with many wheels that independently turn. Very, very useful vehicle, especially for things like this. It can make pretty sharp turns, which is required for these rollouts, especially when turning into the build site or into the launch site. All right, we are parked again, and we are in park. Beautiful rollout so far, Ship 24. Rollback. Again, you can see the mega bay and the high bay back there. Actually, right now you can only see the high bay and the mid bay. The mega bay is just obscured by Ship 24. However, it's now starting to poke out from the left flap. I'm going to start referring to Ship 24 as S24. I'm going to try to start simplifying some of the terminology that we're using. Just because on these long streams, saying all these long words, like Ship 24, orbital launch mount, orbital launch tower, suborbital tank farm, all these things start to turn to gibberish after a long stream. So I'm going to start thinking about our little nicknames for these things, starting with S24. Not that it's that much easier to say, but we have some cameras set up on along the side of the highway here from some artists and content creators. So I would expect to see some great videos of this rollout on Twitter later today or on YouTube, wherever you might get your content. Okay, I am in park again. Welcome, Dave Roberts. Pleasure to have you in chat, Dave, as always. I hope your time back home is going well. Hope you're getting some relaxation in. Todd is saying RGV is flying today. RGV aerial. Should be some great pictures from them. So keep your eyes out for those. We're currently going 0 miles per hour. We're now going 1 miles per hour. From this angle, you can kind of see that that little payload slot has been welded up on ship 24, S24. We don't expect there to be any payload for the launch of the first full stack. That slot has also been welded up on ship 25. So no payload expected on ship 25 either. This has been an absolutely gorgeous ride today. Just like the last rollout, perfect weather. Perfect weather. Alright, so I have a question for you folks that are in chat. Now, I'm not going to look at the answers right now, but I'm going to look through this chat later to see what the answers were. If you're watching this right now, should I continue to try to do these rolling streams when there's a rollout or rollback and follow the ship and or booster from spot to spot on Highway 4 just like we're doing now? Or should I sometimes do the stationary streams from the launch site or the build site as we just retrieve, as whatever the vehicle is rolls into its final destination, which that's what we used to do. We used to just hang out at the build site waiting for, the rollback, or we would hang out at the launch site waiting for the roll out. I personally think we should continue to do these as much as we can because we get views of the whole process. But let me know what you think. Let me know if stationary rollout, rollback streams are better, or if rolling with the booster in this convoy is your preference. Oh, I think we have a frozen camera. Nothing a little reset won't fix. Sir, would you be willing to get a picture of the Jeep?
Sure.
If you wouldn't mind just getting it kind of from behind it a little bit, just to see the Jeep and the rocket.
Okay.
Thank
Your
you.
Jeep.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
No problem. We saw you over at Padre Island.
Yeah, you looked real familiar. Different hat today, though, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's park here for a second. I am putting it into park. Okay, Dave says, Andrew, can you say hi to my grandson, Ethan? Absolutely. Ethan, hello, good morning. What time is it over there in the UK? Thanks for hanging out and checking out the stream today, Ethan. I very much appreciate it. All right, we're rolling again. I'll check in with the chat shortly. I kind of have a feeling that this sheriff in front of me, we just had a pretty significant dropout of Starlink there, but I think that we are back. So just give me a 5x5 if you can hear and see, just to let me know that we have reconnected successfully. Sometimes when we drop out stream for a period of time, YouTube or OBS has a struggle with reconnecting to the broadcast. So just give me a heads up that you can hear me and see me. And don't forget to take a look at the top right hand side of the screen to see our live location, to give you an idea of how far Ship 24 is rolling from the launch site to the build site. Pretty cool stuff, eh? Pretty cool.
Oh man, I'm enjoying every minute of it. It's great.
That's awesome.
I feel very safe back here too.
Oh yeah.
It's like the only people that come back here are space nerds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Space nerds.
Yeah. Back in the day, the beach was a kind of a rough area, but
Yeah.
it seems like, from what I hear, I wasn't here for those times, but I've heard it was pretty bad back in the day.
Well,
But it's definitely a nice area now.
yeah, absolutely. And the fact you can drive on the beach. Is
Yeah.
a big deal.
It's amazing.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yep.
I like your rig.
Thank you. We got the Starlink back there in the camera, so we're doing a live stream and everything.
Super.
Yeah.
And the fact you got a convertible, you can probably take the doors off, the whole deal.
Yeah, I've never actually taken the doors off of it, but I put the top down pretty regularly.
That's really nice. You don't see too many four-door Jeeps.
Yeah. They're getting more popular now, though.
Okay.
Yeah. Just chatting with...
We're meeting to
Wait,
walk
one
down
sec.
here and
Yeah?
more pictures,
Well, what a good day to choose. You chose well.
right?
Did you know this was going to be happening?
No.
Nice.
I
Good.
didn't even know they were going to lift it off yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when I saw that thing,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Cool.
You were here yesterday, right? Out here?
No, usually I would be, but I needed a day break. Things have been...
Sure you have plenty of them.
Yeah. Yep. So,
Doesn't get old though, does it?
doesn't. It really doesn't get old.
Well, I hope they light up the engines next week.
That would be cool. I think it's possible.
The young lady who was walking on the road told me that there's a road that they had built out here.
Yeah.
Important for viewing as well.
I actually am not familiar with it really.
Okay.
But I think it has to do with the the port. And I don't know if it's like everybody has access to it or not. I don't really know much about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Worth investigating.
Padre Island all the time with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, for like static fires and stuff, I'm over there.
Yeah, she wasn't familiar with Padre Island.
Oh, really? Huh.
She said, I said it's a beautiful beach resort. She said that's just not my scene. I said, okay, well,
Huh. Fair enough.
might be able to see everything
Yeah.
Better than that,
Yeah, for sure.
It's unique how they have these cameras kind of posted along the road out here. Too.
Yeah, so a lot of the ones on the stands obviously on this side are permanent, but these ones here are set up by some of the artists and content creators that are down here, and yeah, I think everybody just looks out for each other's stuff, make sure nobody messes with it, and they'll come back after the rollout or rollback and pick them up and get the footage off of them and everything.
They must have it timed or something. Timed
Yeah.
pictures?
Yeah. Yep. Or they just put them out right before the rollout and leave them running.
Yeah.
So.
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it is history in the making, isn't it?
It sure is. Sure is. I met this gentleman on South Padre Island a few days ago, back during I think the wet dress rehearsal, and I just saw that he was walking alongside the road here with his bike, viewing Ship 24 rolling back to the build site, and we just had a little bit of a chat about how cool being able to see all this stuff really is. We are in park right now. And as you may know, the activity here at Starbase with Starship is ramping up like absolute crazy. So if you want to be notified of future rollouts or rollbacks or static fires, wet dress rehearsals, all of that stuff, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, put those notifications on. We don't go live too often. We don't go live all the time. We only go live when there is something really exciting happening. So if you're looking for a channel that will only send you a notification when something exciting is happening, this was probably the channel to do it. Though I will admit, we have been uploading more videos to the channel. So if you have the ability to only do notifications for live streams, that might be the best option. But if you want to be notified of our summary videos and short videos that we upload to YouTube almost on a daily basis at this point, then yeah, obviously your choice to sign up for whatever notifications you want. But the subscription really helps us a lot as well. And anytime you interact with the channel by liking or subscribing or commenting, watching, chatting, any of that stuff helps with quote unquote the algorithm that we all hear about, and YouTube will suggest it to more and more people. So with you interacting with this stream, you may be able to help somebody else find out about their passion for space exploration, rockets, and that type of stuff. So thank you very much for all of the support on the channel recently. Things are really picking up, and I think we may be able to get to the point where we're a partnered channel on YouTube relatively soon. I think with all of your generous support in the community lately, I think we might hit that subscriber milestone pretty soon if everything keeps going the way it's going. And then the next milestone we'll need to get is actually watch hours. So if you want to help the channel become partnered, and then eventually we can upgrade our equipment and keep making Rocket Future a bigger and bigger community, the thing that's going to help us the most is watch time. So if even if you don't have the time to sit down and watch one of these streams, if you have it up in the background on a tab somewhere, just that would help us so much. Again, just we couldn't do this without your support, and I just want to thank you so much for all the support lately. It's been unreal, and we're just so happy to see folks enjoying the content and learning about what's happening down here at Starbase. We don't only cover Starbase and Starship activities as well, but other rockets and other launches. We did a little bit of coverage on the SLS Artemis launch and the Artemis program. We occasionally do studio streams where we do commentary about like a Rocket Lab launch or something, but we generally reserve those for something special or something exciting, like a crewed launch, like Crew 6 we might do a stream for, or a new launch vehicle. Those types of things we do our studio streams on. So eventually we'll do some launch live streams from on-site at other locations as well. We'll occasionally go to Florida and do some streams, or Virginia and do some streams, especially as Virginia becomes a more busy launch site. And I'm really excited for the Neutron rocket from Rocket Lab that'll launch there eventually. But anyway, that was a long-winded explanation about why your support helps so much, so thank you. We get some views inside the high bay and the mega bay right now. From this angle, I don't see anything in the high bay. However, I do think there is something on the left-hand side inside that high bay that we just can't see from now. However, the mega bay, we do see a big booster in the background there, which I guess would be booster 9. Let's see, 7's on OLM. 8 was split in half, right? So that must be 9 in the mega bay back there. You can barely see the shininess of it on the stream there. Now, of course, all of the exciting action right now is around Ship 24 and Booster 7 and the eventual full stack and launch attempt. However, we can start talking a little bit about what happens after the first full stack launch. So, again, we hope those vehicles are Booster 7 and Ship 24. But up next may be Ship 25, which is currently at the suborbital launch mount, undergoing its testing campaign in coming days or weeks. We've already seen some cryo tests of Booster 9, I believe, right? It's kind of getting hard to keep track of all the testing they're doing on the different vehicles down here. But I believe we've seen cryo testing on Booster 9. So, Booster 9 could be up next. They could learn something from Booster 7, or they may have learned something from Booster 8 that eventually leads them to scrap a Booster 9. Or they may end up using it for a full testing campaign and eventually maybe even a launch. We'll have to see. But right now, up on deck for launch is Ship 24 and Booster 7. Ship 24 is now making its second to last turn, not including the actual turn into the build facility. So we get this right-hand side and right-hand turn, and then there'll be a left-hand turn. And then eventually it'll make a sharp right into the build site once we arrive. kind of hard to estimate how far we are away from S24 right now, but if I was to guess, I would say a few hundred yards, 200 or 300 yards. I don't know. Could be more.
I thought they were going to kick us out this morning and close the road.
Yeah, with these intermittent road delays, they call them. They won't like remove anybody from the beach side or anything.
It was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
I thought I would have knocking on my door at 7 this morning.
Oh yeah, you got the van down there?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I've only been on the road 6 months,
Right.
and I've been to the Grand Canyon, Setonia, and,
Nice.
up and down the coast of California,
Right.
and it's just been one exciting thing after the next.
Yeah.
I met a guy, Cooper,
Oh yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love
Yeah.
Coop. Coop is really, really good people.
He's giving me a reason to go on Twitter.
There you go. Yeah. The videos and stuff he comes up with is unreal.
That's what I hear.
Such a talented person.
And he says he'll make a plate or shirt or something for you of any photo as well.
Yeah, yep. Just took a quick look at that live location. I don't think it has updated in a little bit, but it'll update eventually. How's everybody doing? Everybody having a good time here today? I'll tell you, I really enjoy seeing people, familiar names coming into chat. It's really cool to see some people coming back to multiple streams, and I've seen some people talk to each other in chat, building a community here. And it's great. We have such a great community in person down here with all the artists and content creators that do content and art around Starbase and Starship. And it reflects in the communities that have been formed around these folks. So it's been a really awesome experience so far, being down here and interacting with all these communities in person and online. We have some really creative and amazing people down here doing this thing. in contrast with the Ship 25 roll out that we saw a couple weeks ago, the Ship 24 roll back has the top flaps, the ailerons, whatever you want to call them, extended. Ship 25 had them still kind of tied up. However, the lower flaps on Ship 24 are tied up just like they were on Ship 25. From this angle, we got a good view of a couple of those raceways going up the side of Ship 24. One looks like a slightly different color than the other. I'm not entirely sure of each one's purpose, but a lot of times it'll be some sort of plumbing or electrical or even part of the flight termination system. The one on the left is possibly related to the FTS, or the flight termination system. I see that big block up there, but I'm not positive on that. Of course, we see that new badging up at the, and I say new, and it's hard to see with the current reflections. Reflections on the ship, but we have those quote-unquote new badging. You can see it's actually written S24, and you can see the SpaceX logo up near the top there. We haven't seen that on any of the other ships, and then Ship 25 doesn't have the badging either, if I'm remembering correctly. So I'll be curious if Ship 25 ever gets its branding and badging. But these are starting to look more and more like production units. Again, we are far, far away from a final version of Starship. Very far. But these are looking more production every time. Mosquitoes are still out here down at Starbase, but not as bad as it's been recently. So hopefully that is an improvement, and hopefully that'll keep trending that way. Sometimes there'll be months where there's terrible, terrible mosquitoes, and some months they'll be totally fine, so we'll have to see. Ship 24 is approaching the last turn on Highway 4, again not counting the final right-hand turn into the build site. This is a left-hand turn where we see that Mars bar, or that little bar restaurant they have on site for SpaceX employees, which has the little outside seating patio with an overhang made up of the Mark 1 Starship flaps. There is a mosquito in the Jeep at this point. Trying to get it out of here. Just like last time, I will likely try to create a sped up and stabilized version of this footage, which I'll most likely post as a short on the YouTube channel, so keep an eye out for that. If you want to show your friends what happened today at Starbase, I'll likely post that tonight, most likely. If not tonight, probably tomorrow. I'm currently in park, checking on the chat. I see the Space Junkie community hanging out here, so I just want to say a big welcome and thanks to the Space Junkie community. Shard Baby confirms that is Booster 9 in the Mega Bay that we were seeing earlier, and you'll have a view of here shortly. Todd says, let's just hope it's not the same outcome of S22. I agree completely. We want to see this thing launch and not get scrapped. David says, Rocket Future, hey Andrew, thanks for the coverage again. Now I represent the Space Junkie community as Sabi is still at work, unfortunately. Thank you for hanging out here. But hopefully once both of us can catch these events. Absolutely. Welcome Raymond or Roman. Todd's still hanging out here. Shard's still hanging out here. Greg tuned in. I'm rolling and no longer looking at chat. If you didn't catch the beginning of the stream, it was kind of interesting. There was a moment where we were wondering if we were really going to see the rollback of Ship 24 today. The intermittent road delay was scheduled to start at 8 a.m. Central Time, and it was already like 8:30, I think, by the time we saw any indication of S24 moving. And basically, I was thinking that if we didn't see S24 move by 8:45, at the absolute latest, that we wouldn't be seeing it move at all today. But I also did state that we just need to make sure that we have patience when it comes to these tests and procedures. Just like the wet dress rehearsal the other day, it was a delay of, we thought we were going to see some activity earlier than we actually did, but we remained patient, and eventually what we expected to see happen did end up happening. So that was interesting for sure. You never quite know what you're going to get down here, and plans change pretty frequently, but so far tracking this stuff is getting easier and easier by the day, trying to kind of guess when these things are going to be happening. One thing that helps a lot is SpaceX has recently started communicating a lot more about Starship through official methods like their Twitter feed and everything. They're actually starting to provide updates. Until recently, SpaceX would only post an update about Starship after a big event happened. So they would post something after a static fire or something. But now it seems like they are communicating upcoming tests for the program. Just the other day, they basically tweeted out saying that this was going to be 24 was going to be destacked off of 7 for the upcoming engine static fire for booster 7. So that type of information was unheard of. Now I have a big question here. Now that we're getting more official information directly from SpaceX about testing timelines for Starship, and I guess not really timelines, but at least telling us what the next milestone is, how much more information are we going to get? For example, every time there's been a static fire test, the only way we knew there was going to be a static fire is based off of road closures, overpressure notices, and eventual a 10-minute siren. How cool would it be if SpaceX posts a time and a date for the 33 engine static fire, for example? That would save a lot of effort and work and time for us folks down here who are trying to document this program. I know the top of the ship is cut off a little bit here, but it is taking a left-hand turn here, so that'll fix itself in just a minute. That would save us so much time if they told us a time that they were going to try for tests and stuff. But I don't know if we're going to get there quite yet. We'll have to wait and see what kind of updates SpaceX will continue to provide for us. But this is a good milestone ahead of Booster 7 static fire. So we're getting closer every day.
Would you know if pictures were not delivered on the text? Do you know if they'll be delivered as soon as you make a good connection?
Most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Depends on the phone and stuff, but usually it will. Sometimes you have to tap it if it says not delivered, and then it'll say resend.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to do that.
Okay. Getting a lot not delivered out here.
Yeah. The connection is not great.
Love the stars on your brake lights.
Oh, thank you.
Good call.
They were on there when I bought it, and I was like, I'm definitely keeping those.
Yeah, right?
All right, Ship 24 is starting to make its left-hand turn. This is the last curve on Highway 4. And then it's a straight shot to the build site, and then it will make a sharp right-hand turn into the build site. We have a vehicle coming in my direction, so I'm just kind of we're going a little bit faster just to catch up to these vehicles. That's why it's shaking more, but we're going to be going back to the 2 mile per hour speed here in a second. All right, that's about it. We are about to pass the Mars bar on our right-hand side. That location hasn't updated in a long time. I am in park. Let me see if I can force it to update. You can now see the next ship peeking out of the high bay on the left-hand side. I knew something was in there. Oh, man.
That's the Rio Grande out there.
Not right there, but it's pretty close. We are approaching the build site now as we speak. I am just driving past the solar farm and the antennas, those big giant antennas. So Starship will be making a sharp right-hand turn into the build site, and I would say approximately 5 minutes at the most, give or take. Now, we are gonna stay, oops, I'm noticing the camera's frozen again. Fix that for you. We're gonna stay live with you here until Ship 24 enters the build site. And generally speaking, we do a kind of post event breakdown. You know, I'll set up a second camera and talk about what we just saw. However, today, once Ship 24 turns right into the build site, I'm pretty much just going to do a quick outro and wrap things up because I have some other commitments I gotta get to today. But again, we're not going anywhere yet. We are stuck here in a good way until Ship 24 rolls into the build site. I did rewatch my S25 roll out stream the other day, and I caught myself multiple times saying the wrong ship number. So I gotta try to be better at that. I know you guys know what I'm talking about anyway, but try to take an extra second to think before I talk. Make sure I get things accurately. I have to figure out why my camera keeps freezing. I have to reach out to the support. I hear a siren, but I don't see a siren. It's probably just the guy. Again, this has been a great roll back of Ship S24 to the build site. We don't exactly know what the plan for it is here at the build site. However, we think they just needed to have a place for it. The suborbital infrastructure already has S25 on it, so they couldn't put it there. I guess they could have potentially rolled S25 back and put S24 there, but might as well bring S24 back here, keep it safe during this engine 7 static fire. It'll also have all the stuff that they need here to do the work that they need to do on the top of 24. They'll probably run some inspections on it. I don't know how much work is actually required for S24. But everything that we know of still indicates that S24 is still in good shape for the eventual full stack launch. So we don't expect anything major. We do expect those hooks near the top of it to be removed and replaced with heat shield tiles. We'll have to see what else they end up doing to the vehicle. Starting to warm up here. It feels a lot warmer. Let's see what it actually is at, though. It's still 58 degrees. I guess the sun is just feels warm. We are alternating between 1 and 2 miles per hour usually. If you're having trouble finding any of our social media sites for Rocket Future, you can go to rocketfuture.org and find all the links. Again, that's rocketfuture.org. At the top is all the social media links. I do have to add one more link to the top, but if you're trying to find our Patreon, you have to scroll to the bottom. I'll add that to the top as well. But if you're trying to find our Patreon, again, you can go to rocketfuture.org, scroll to the bottom, and our patrons get a monthly postcard from Starbase, a physical postcard to their mailbox every month with photography and updates and stories from Starbase. So if you want to receive in the mail a photo of Starship with updates about what's happening here at Starbase every month, you can sign up at our Patreon, and again, you can find that at I almost said starship.org. That is not the website. I don't even know what that website is. rocketfuture.org. But pretty much on all the social medias, we are at The Rocket Future. The Rocket Future. S24 is quickly approaching its final right-hand sharp turn into the Starbase build site, where it will either enter the high bay or the mega bay. But after the ship is pulled into the build site, we will very quickly after that be wrapping up coverage with an outro. If you're still with us in chat, give me a 5x5 just to let me know that I'm still live and broadcasting. Worst case scenario, I am recording this as well, so I have it either way. It appears that I am still live. So that's good news. I see that we have quite a few people tuned into the stream. So again, I just want to say thank you so much for your support. Just being here helps us so much, suggested to more people on YouTube. So by interacting with the stream, you can help others find their passion for space. But it also just helps us grow. So thank you so much, everybody, for your support. S24 is making its final leg of the journey. Welcome, Sandor. Again, we see a live view of the high bay and mega bay on the right. Where S24 will end up, I am not sure. I know Shard had a theory of where it will go. But I actually don't recall which he said. I think he said it's going to potentially go where S22 was, but I forget if that's high bay or mega bay. But I want to say high bay. So, as I stated, once this makes its final turn, I'll do a quick outro and we'll call it a stream. So if you have any questions, now is the time to drop those questions in the chat and I can answer those for you. So what's up next for Starship and Starbase, and what's the next Rocket Future live stream? That is a great question. This weekend we will be doing a summary stream from on-site, on location at Starbase. So we're going to be hanging out at Starbase, and we will go through a review of what has happened in the last week or so and what we expect to see next as far as milestones here at Starbase and with Starship. So don't forget to catch that this weekend. I'm not sure exactly what time or what date yet, but I will make sure I post that. After that, we do expect S24 will eventually have to roll back out, but probably not until after Booster 7 does its static fire. So I think the next big testing stream, or like next event stream we can call it, would be Booster 7's static fire. So I think that's the next big testing stream we expect to host. When is that going to be? We're not entirely sure, but we do know that moving S24 out of there was a prerequisite. So SpaceX probably has a few other things on their list of things that need to be done prior to that Booster 733 engine static fire, but we do know that's the next big milestone up, so keep an eye out for that. S24 is about to make its turn into the build site, right? Or is it going... Oh no. Hold up. Is it past the entrance to the build site? I sure hope not. Alright, so hypothetically speaking, if Ship 24 is past the entrance to the build site, which I'm trying to figure out, that would mean it could be going to the Rocket Garden or taking an alternate route. Okay, let's not get too excited, folks. S24 could be taking an alternate route into the build site. They can take a right towards the rocket garden and then take another right before it actually gets to the rocket garden. And that will lead it back into the build site. But it's definitely past the entrance to the build site here, so I'm expecting it to make a right-hand turn here shortly onto the road that does lead to the rocket garden, but we're hoping that it doesn't go to the rocket garden. Okay, it might be backing up into the build site. We'll have to, you know what, let's just be patient and see where it ends up going. Because of the nature of the lens on my camera, it has a bit of a fisheye, so that's why Ship 24 looks like it's leaning right now. But it is not leaning at all. It is perfectly oriented straight vertically. I don't think we're backing up, so I'm expecting a right-hand turn here shortly. One thing we do know is it cannot go, I don't even know why we would expect this. There's no reason to expect this, but it can't go further than the build site. Like, for to say, like, this couldn't go to Massey's or anything. There's Jersey barriers in the middle of the highway that would prohibit this from rolling that far. So this has to be turning into this road that leads to the road that leads to the rocket garden. But again, that does not mean S24 is going to the rocket garden. They can take a right, and then they will take another right to bring it into the build site, hopefully. Now, hypothetically, even if they roll it into the rocket garden, that's not the worst news. That doesn't mean that S24 is done. It could just be a temporary holding spot for S24 until the Booster 7 testing is done. So it should be about to make that right-hand turn. This was definitely an unexpected turn of events, you could call it. There's been a few times where I've cut off the nose of S24 on the video, which is going to be a pain for me to edit this post-processing, because generally I use the nose as like the point to track, but hopefully I'll be able to find something else. It's hard to use the flaps because the flaps change orientation, and the video editor has a hard time tracking that if it's turning. The nose always looks like the nose no matter which way it's facing, so that's what I usually pick. But it's been cut off a few times here, and I'm cutting it off again. Yeah, so as expected, it is turning into this road here that leads to the rocket garden / the alternate entrance to the build site. I'm very curious to see if other communities are freaking out about this taking a right onto this road. But I assume everybody has the same thoughts where when it drove past the entrance to the build site, maybe for a moment people were like, uh-oh, what's going on? But hopefully quickly realized that it very well could just be taking an alternate entrance into the site. Great shot of S24 and the American flag right here. I like that. Alright, so I will pull over up here and wait to see where S24 goes. At least so we know if it's heading towards the build site or heading towards the rocket garden. So stand by. Alright, we're going to be pulling over up here in just a second. To see where ship 24 ends up. Alright, so I'm hoping to see this thing take a right-hand turn. But Lint says kind of scary that it's going towards the garden. Yeah, but even if it ends up there, it could just be temporary holding spot for it while Booster 7 does its static fire. But the concept of it heading towards the garden is a scary one, I agree. I am going to get out and take a few shots here. But let's see. All right, folks. Well, let's see where it ends up. As you can see, a lot of traffic from the road closure, or the intermittent road delay, now coming through since the sheriffs have moved out of the way. We're going to do something a little different here, actually. Oh, boy. Yeah, actually, I don't want to screw anything up. All right, so folks, thanks for joining. My name is Andrew. This is Rocket Future, documenting and sharing the most exciting moments in spaceflight. Today, we got a great view of Ship 24 being rolled back from the Starbase launch site to the Starbase build site. Specifically, it looks like it's rolling into the rocket garden, which is an interesting change of events, but low bit rate. So some of that might have gotten cut off, but yeah, we were surprised that this is going to the rocket garden. Again, rocket garden is usually where rockets will go when they're done with them here at Starbase. So weird, but they might just need a holding spot for Ship 24. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's being retired or anything. That would be a drastic assumption that it could be very, very far from the truth. Most likely, the situation is that it's literally just going to sit there out of harm's way while Booster 7 does its testing. This could be also good news if they don't need to roll it into the high bay or the mega bay. That probably also could indicate that they don't need to do any major refurbishments of Ship 24 prior to the full stack launch. And they could just fix they could take the hooks off and put the heat shield tiles without rolling it into the mega bay or high bay and not take up space. Now, let's be honest with ourselves here. There is a non-zero chance, I think a very, very, very small chance, that Ship 24 is being rolled to the rocket garden because they are done with it. Maybe Ship 24 won't go on the first full stack launch, but I think that is highly unlikely. Again, it's probably just they need some place to store it and work on it, and don't need to roll it into the mega bay or high bay. It's kind of surprising to me and kind of weird to see this happening, but that's where it's at, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens next. So no reason to freak out, no reason to think S24 has a change of plans, but it asks a question, and that's about it. So we've had a great stream here today. Thank you everybody so much for the support. We're gonna wrap things up here. I'm just seeing if there's any further questions. I don't see any. We'll be back for more of these streams, especially when there is a static fire and stuff coming up for Booster 7. Yeah, stay tuned, subscribe, like, do all that good stuff. It helps the channel, and it'll help more people find this content. And I'm really hoping that this guy, I'm not in this guy's way. I need to potentially move. Let me move. Oh no, he's good. All right, well, anyway, I'm wrapping up, so talk to you guys later. Have a good one. We'll see you next time, and peace out.